What if a millionaire married a poor plus-size woman, not for love, but because of a cruel bet? He believed money could buy anything, even a person's heart. But what happened after the wedding changed his life forever and left everyone speechless. This emotional story is filled with shocking twists, powerful lessons, and a reminder that true beauty comes from the heart, not appearance. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another inspiring story. Now, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Jason Carter had built the kind of life most people only dreamed about. At 34 years old, he was one of New York City's most successful self-made millionaires. The founder and CEO of Carter Innovations, a technology company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. His face appeared regularly on business magazine covers. Investors competed for meetings with him, and every luxury he desired was within reach, from his sleek penthouse overlooking Central Park to his collection of exotic sports cars. Jason seemed to have everything money could buy, yet beneath the polished image was a man whose success had quietly turned into arrogance. He believed wealth could solve every problem, influence every decision, and even control people's hearts. His closest circle of friends wasn't much different. They were wealthy entrepreneurs, investors, and celebrities who spent their weekends at exclusive clubs, rooftop lounges, and private yacht parties. They constantly challenged one another with outrageous bets, treating life like a game where money erased every consequence. One Friday evening, the group gathered at an upscale rooftop restaurant in Manhattan. Champagne flowed freely while the city skyline sparkled beneath the stars. The conversation drifted toward relationships after one of Jason's friends announced his engagement. Another friend joked, "You're the only one here who's still single." Jason leaned back in his chair with a confident grin. "I haven't met a woman worth marrying." The table laughed. "Or maybe no woman can tolerate your ego," someone teased. Jason shrugged. "It isn't about ego. The truth is simple. If I ever decided to get married, any woman would say yes." Several people rolled their eyes. "You really think money can buy love?" One of them asked. "It buys opportunity," Jason replied. The rest follows. His oldest friend, Ethan Marshall, shook his head in disbelief. "No, Jason, you're confusing admiration with love." Jason smirked. "Watch me prove it." Ethan thought for a moment before placing his glass on the table. "Fine, here's the challenge." The entire group grew quiet. "Find someone who has absolutely nothing. No wealth, no social status. Someone ordinary whom people overlook every day. Marry her. Stay married for at least 1 month." Jason raised an eyebrow. "And then, if you can honestly say you've done it without backing out, you win." "What do I get?" Ethan smiled. "The satisfaction of proving us wrong." Jason laughed. "That's too easy." Another friend interrupted. "There's one condition. You can't tell her it's part of a bet." Jason didn't hesitate. "Deal." The men shook hands while everyone around the table cheered. To them, it was another expensive game between millionaires. To Jason, it was merely another challenge he intended to win. The following week, Carter Innovations sponsored a charity event at a community center in Brooklyn. The company had donated food, clothing, and school supplies to low-income families. Normally Jason would have sent one of his executives, but he decided to attend personally, hoping fate might hand him the perfect person for his ridiculous wager. As photographers captured images of the generous CEO greeting volunteers, Jason's attention drifted toward a woman quietly organizing boxes near the back of the hall. She wasn't dressed to impress. She wore faded jeans, comfortable sneakers, and a simple blue sweater with the sleeves rolled to her elbows. Her dark brown hair was tied into a loose ponytail, and she worked without seeking attention or recognition. While others chatted and posed for photos, she focused entirely on helping families carry heavy bags to their cars. Her name tag read Emily Brooks. Jason watched as an elderly woman accidentally dropped several grocery bags. Before anyone else reacted, Emily rushed over, helped gather the scattered food, and gently reassured the embarrassed woman with a warm smile. "It's okay," Emily said softly. "Nothing's broken. We'll get you another bag." There was something remarkably calm about her. She never complained, never tried to stand out, and never seemed bothered that no one noticed how much work she was doing. Jason asked one of the event organizers about her. "Emily volunteers here almost every weekend," the organizer explained. "She's one of the kindest people I've ever met." "What does she do?" "She works part-time at the public library and spends most of her free time here." "Family?" The organizer sighed. "Her mother passed away 6 months ago after a long illness. Emily used nearly all her savings caring for her. She's still paying off the hospital bills." Jason nodded thoughtfully. Everything he heard fit the challenge perfectly. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't famous. She lived alone in a modest apartment and struggled to make ends meet. To Jason, Emily seemed like the ideal person to fulfill his bet. What he failed to notice was the quiet strength behind her gentle smiler, the dignity with which she carried burdens far heavier than anyone around her realized. As the event ended, Emily thanked every volunteer before preparing to leave. Jason walked toward her. Emily, she turned, surprised to see the famous CEO speaking directly to her. Yes, I'm Jason Carter. She smiled politely. I know who you are. I was wondering if you'd have dinner with me sometime. Emily blinked in confusion. She looked around, almost expecting someone else to be standing behind her. Jason smiled confidently. Yes, Emily hesitated. Nothing about the situation made sense. Men like Jason Carter didn't ask women like her to dinner. Still, there was kindness in his voice, or so she believed. After a long pause, she nodded. I suppose one dinner couldn't hurt. As Jason watched her walk away, he smiled to himself. He believed the hardest part of the bet was already over. He couldn't have been more wrong. The most important relationship of his life, and for the first time, losing the bet no longer seemed like something to fear. The weeks following the financial scandal changed Jason Carter in ways he never expected. The board of directors praised him for uncovering the fraud before it ruined Carter Innovations. Investors regained confidence, and the company's stock quickly recovered. Everyone called Jason a brilliant leader, only he knew the truth. Without Emily, the fraud would have continued unnoticed. Yet Emily never asked for recognition. When reporters requested interviews, she politely declined. When executives offered to publicly acknowledge her contribution, she smiled and said, "The company matters more than my name." Her humility amazed everyone. One evening, Jason found an old storage box while looking for travel documents in one of the guest rooms. It had Emily's name written across the top. He wasn't trying to invade her privacy. The lid had already fallen open. Inside were dozens of photographs, university certificates, and neatly organized folders. Jason slowly picked them up, his curiosity growing with every page. There was Emily standing proudly in a graduation gown after earning a master's degree in accounting from one of the country's most respected universities. Another certificate recognized her as one of the top financial analysts at a prestigious Chicago accounting firm. There were newspaper clippings praising her work for exposing corporate fraud years earlier. Jason's hands began to shake. She hadn't always been poor. She had built an impressive career through years of hard work. At the bottom of the box lay a worn notebook. Inside were hospital bills, totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars. Every payment had Emily's signature. Every receipt represented another treatment for her mother's cancer. As Jason turned each page, he discovered letters Emily had written but never sent. One read, "Mom, don't worry about the bills. I'll work another job if I have to. I would rather lose every dollar I have than lose you." Mother simply said, "If I have to start over with nothing, I will, as long as you know you were loved." Jason could barely breathe. Emily hadn't become poor because she had failed. She had sacrificed everything to save the only family she had left. He quietly closed the notebook, overcome with shame. For the first time since making the bet, Jason saw himself through Emily's eyes. A man who had judged someone without knowing their story. A husband who had entered marriage with deception while his wife had entered it with hope. That night he couldn't sleep. The laughter from the rooftop party echoed endlessly in his mind. Every joke, every careless word, every promise to win. The next morning, Emily found him sitting alone on the balcony before sunrise. "You've been awake all night," she said softly. Jason nodded without looking at her. "I found your box." Emily froze. "My old papers." "I'm sorry." She remained silent. "I know about your career." Still no answer. "I know about your mother." Emily slowly sat beside him. "I never wanted anyone to feel sorry for me." Jason looked at her with tears in his eyes. "I don't pity you." She waited. "I admire you." Emily smiled faintly. "My mother always said difficult seasons reveal who we really are." Jason lowered his head. If that's true, he couldn't finish the sentence. Emily gently placed her hand over his. "You don't have to be perfect, Jason." Her kindness only made him feel worse. For days, guilt consumed him. Every smile Emily gave him